Welcome back to Living 808. From social media to the news, negativity and hate seem to be widespread. So how is this all affecting us?
Risa and Edwina from Ho'oko LLC gave us some straight talk.
Some straight talk now about a subject that's complex, but we're hearing a lot about it. It is hate. And we want to find out more from Risa and Edwina, our friends from Ho'oko, about the origins of it and how it's different from other issues like rage. And so nice to see you. And this is a very complicated issue. Let's talk about hate. Where do we begin?
Right, right. And if we go straight to the kind of dictionary source of the definition of hate, it is intense hostility or aversion, usually derived from the other emotions of fear, anger, and even vulnerability. And interestingly enough, the dictionary also notes that it is a systematic, especially politically exploited expression. And that is so apropos, in our time right now because of everything that we're experiencing in the political scene and just people's different expressions not necessarily being honored in the same way. And so we're seeing a lot of that right now. Hate can start with something that's very small. A small offense happens and it just grows. People look for kind of things that support what they're feeling, and from there it takes off.
I want to ask, what are some of the ways that social media, news, and entertainment can drive hate?
Tanya, this is really a big one now these days, especially in today's society. So in social media and media in general definitely have been a huge part in fueling hate in what we can see today. And part of the reason why that is that, people are more comfortable crossing lines and saying things that they normally might not say maybe in person, but they're comfortably doing that online. And so because of that, it's causing different kinds of wars and fights online, even amongst peoples. The other thing that's fueling this hate online as well too is comparisons that people are making with one another and their views, the political views, and how they see certain situations. And also online right now, a lot of lines have become blurred on what is appropriate, what is not appropriate, what is hate speech, what is not hate speech, and who is the one exactly who gets to make this call. Bad things online right now apparently are being seen as good, bad, and overall, there's been a deterioration of just trust online, and hate ultimately has become now the epidemic.
Why is it that it's so toxic for the hater, and how can we avoid being influenced to hate so much?
Right. I think, generally speaking, hate has the ability to turn cancerous, if you will, to touch every part of a person's life. And what happens with it, with just one small thing, as I was saying before, people look for other instances that support what they're feeling, and that fuels the hate. And so that develops a lens that they start looking at everything from. And so things are taken offensively when they would not normally be. And feelings become more and more intense as time goes on. And it is an insidious buildup of an expression that's so deep and that people are not even aware of sometimes, that is becoming so strong. This is the reason why it's so toxic for the hater.
How then can we deal with the hate and try to create peace in our own lives and the lives of others?
So Tanya, so a lot of it is, we ourselves have to make the decision choices in what we are going to allow to affect us or not. And so just like, for example, if your phone is ringing at home, right, we have a choice whether or not we're going to answer our phone or just let it be. And so in general, we have that power and the choice to make those decisions. As well, we can also speak up against hate as well too as individuals. However, we also have to realize and differentiate whether or not it's worth our time or not, because some things are not worth it. And sometimes when we make decisions to speak against it, sometimes it can also be a disservice to us. Also, to bring about peace is to just really foster our current relationships that are around us and have the wisdom as well to know when do we need to take a break, set boundaries, in order for us to have more peace in our lives.
If someone has a question about this or about spending intentional time together, what can they do?
They can contact our counseling center at www.hookollc.com or 808-375-7712.
All right. Thank you so much. As always, it's a pleasure to have you on Living 808.
Thanks, Tanya.
Thank you.
And they are such a wealth of wisdom on so many different topics. And certainly right now, a lot of people need guidance on just so many number of things. Reach out to them or someone else to talk.
Yeah. Definitely reach out to Ho'oko LLC if anything you want to talk about. But I totally agree with them when they talked about social media, and we've seen a lot of that last year. But I think it just comes from just really understanding
Exactly.
and really just getting to know the other person.
Exactly. We'll post that as well as some past Straight Talk episodes on KHON2.com. Coming up, we're gonna